and welcome to another edition of Chiodini's Kitchen, video game recipes made real. Now, this week's recipe is very exciting as it comes from one of our most requested franchises. You asked for it, we listened. I'm so excited to tell you that this week's recipe comes to you straight from the Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, sorry, I promise we will make a sweet roll eventually. Anyway, this week's recipe is venison stuffed grape leaves from the Elder Scrolls Online. And that's an in-game item using the leaves from Jazzbay grapes, some game, and some salt rice. And those three ingredients aren't exactly loads to go on, so here's what I think you'll need to make this dish. A few cloves of garlic, a drizzle of oil, a small onion, 250 grams of rice, I think, I kind of estimated, salt and pepper, some lemon juice, a jar of vine leaves, and 500 grams of minced venison. Now, if you can't find minced venison, don't worry, you can just use lamb mince instead. It tastes pretty good, you know, all the same, and to be honest, if you were just showing it to somebody, they would be hard-pressed to tell the difference between lamb mince and venison mince. Not that I'm saying I couldn't find venison mince and bought lamb mince instead, because that would be dishonest, and I would never do that to you. Quick shout out to any vegetarians watching. This recipe is actually pretty easy to convert into a veggie recipe. You just leave the meat out, although you could also substitute in some mushrooms, which I would recommend you fry in some oil or maybe some butter before adding it to the mix. And with that said, step one is cook your rice. Now, because you're going to have to cool down this rice entirely before stuffing it into the vine leaves alongside the rest of the ingredients, you want to get this step out of the way as early as humanly possible. In fact, this recipe is probably one of the most time-consuming and labour-intensive ones we've done on Chiodini's Kitchen, even though it's not entirely that difficult, with the exception maybe of all those times we had to make puff pastry. I say this basically just to warn you, if you're going to attempt this yourself, it's going to take quite a long time. And while your rice is boiling away, you can turn your attention to your onion and your garlic. Cut these up nice and small and then fry them for a few minutes in some oil until the onion goes translucent. So our rice has just finished cooking and I've drained off all the water and it just needs to cool down, and in order to facilitate that I'm going to spread it out in this here baking tray, so we should be able to crack on a little bit sooner. Right, so our rice has cooled down now, so we're going to throw that in a mixing bowl alongside the onion and garlic. Then we're going to add a whole bunch more ingredients. Next we add what is definitely, absolutely, positively some venison mince. And then we just need to chop up some decent sized sprigs of coriander, dill and parsley. Be generous with the parsley. Now it's just time for some salt, pepper and some lemon juice. And then it's time to get your hands in there and mix everything thoroughly together. So with a bit of luck, you should have ended up with a mixture that looks something like this. And now that's finished, it's time to turn our attention to the vine leaves themselves, which, when they're not in their natural habitat of growing on the vine, can most commonly be found in jars. So when you get into your jar of vine leaves, you'll find that they kind of come smushed together, easy, in these kind of little bundles, like that. You want to get one of these and gently squeeze the brine out of it, not too hard, because if you squeeze too hard you're going to have a hard time separating these out. Now once that's done, you want to put it down here and then just sort of gently tease the sides out. Oh, that was actually really easy, they're just folded in half. Some of the time they're bundled up really annoyingly. So basically what you want to do, very gently, start to separate out your, come on, come on, autofocus. Individual leaves like this. You want to start making a little stack. Some of them will tear as you are separating them out. Some of them will come already torn. Do not worry, set these aside because you're going to use these later. Just work on separating them out and forming a nice little stack. Okay, so here we go. Here is how you stuff a vine leaf. You want to take one of your leaves, make sure all of the edges are folded down nicely like that. And there are two sides to this. One side which is mostly flat and smooth, one side which has these kind of ribbed bits, kind of there, the little ridges. You want these ridges to be facing up, so they're going on the inside. Then you just want to grab a little bit of your mix and kind of form it very loosely into a sort of sausage shape and just press it down like that onto the leaf. Just grab the camera so you can see that more clearly. Like that. And then all you do from there is you grab your sides, I've overstuffed this one I think, grab your sides there and start folding up from the middle and roll until you get this nice, neat little parcel. And then what you want to do is take a baking tray, and do you remember when I said some of the leaves will tear? Use those to line the baking tray. You just grab your little vine leaf, stick it there, and then repeat forever. So quick update, here's how we're getting on. I have filled one layer of the baking tray, and as you can see I still have a decent amount of mix left. So this stuff really does go quite a long way and it is quite fiddly. So if you can rope in a second pair of hands to make the job go quicker, you should do that. Anyway, what happens if you fill your baking tray, you might ask. Don't worry, just build a second layer on the top. Okay, so I managed to get another 5 out of the mix. Anyway, that is a completed tray of stuffed vine leaves, and the next step is to preheat the oven to gas mark 4, that's about 180 degrees centigrade, and then we're going to smack them in the oven. Although, before we do that, we're just going to add some water to the bottom of the tray to prevent these suckers from drying out too much. Okay, in you go. So those are going to sit in the oven for about half an hour to 45 minutes. I'm kind of just going to check them and judge it by eye. So you've got plenty of time to go side questing, or as I like to call it, cleaning the kitchen. Let's see what we've got here. Whoa. Okay. Right, oh dear, alright, so, okay, these have dried out a little bit on the top, especially these ones on the very top, but that's, no, it's not too bad. We'll get some olive oil on there or something, and they will be fine. So, those have cooked through quite nicely there. I think they should be tasty, but the thing about these things, it's best to eat them cold. So we're going to wait now for them to cool down. Well, would you look at this vine leaf that's very aesthetically pleasing, almost as if I picked a good looking one out of the pile. Anyway, never mind how it looks, how does it taste? Let's find out. Sorry, it looked like I was about to throw up then, as if it was disgusting. Actually, a piece of rice just went down the wrong way. Anyway, that's very tasty. There's a really nice kind of saltiness that comes with the brine from the vine leaves and from the meat, but it's kind of counteracted and given this lift by all of the sort of punchy herbs that are kind of in the mix. It's very tasty. It's I've made these differently before with tomato paste in there, and I think maybe I prefer them a little bit because they hold more closely together and they've got that tomato flavour going through. But all in all, that is pretty tasty. I can highly recommend you eat those with, I don't know, some hummus or some tzatziki or something. The only trick is not to eat loads of them because they are really moreish and they're full of rice, so they're really filling. So anyway, those were definitely venison stuffed grape leaves from the Elder Scrolls Online. I hope you enjoyed watching me make them. Do let me know if you give them a go yourself. Like I say, they are a bit fiddly and very time consuming, but they're really, really tasty, so well worth the effort if you can spare the time. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode of Chiodini's Kitchen. Do keep those recipe suggestions coming in because it makes my job easier when I'm cooking something I know people actually want to see. And yeah, like I say, we have a lot of fun making it. If you want to watch some other episodes of Chiodini's Kitchen, or indeed some other lovely video content from Eurogamer, there's some of it on your screen now. If you could like and subscribe, that would be delightful, but obviously there's no real pressure. Either way, have a lovely day and thank you for watching.